Hello, and welcome to another episode of my Stellaris Let's Play. This is Northstar. Hope you folks are well. Sorry, it's a cough, though it probably didn't sound like to you guys because of noise canceling. I hope you're taking care of each other, being kind to yourselves. Sore from getting groceries. Managed to avoid carrying really heavy stuff quite ridiculous long distances before. Particularly stepping up my milk purchases, so I'm not carrying in my hands. That with my long COVID, I get really out of breath very quick. Although surprisingly, I get out of breath even with some pretty light stuff this time. So exercise intolerance, which is also the post-exertion ways to get after. It's kind of both getting tired quickly and not doing well after. Shucks, it's long COVID. For those new to my channel, I'm disabled with long COVID. So yeah, you hear comments like that. You also will notice I'm sometimes play slowly, have to lose focus, get distracted easily. That's the long COVID in action. Now I was complaining a few videos about, I was kind of bitching about YouTube, a ridiculous copyright thing that I was getting copyright strike for something that wasn't even in a video. And it appeared to be some scumbag who was like ripping off stuff and then copywriting striking, at least the studio was. Surprisingly, though, YouTube actually backed up my appeal on that, which amazed me. It doesn't say how it worked. It just says my dispute was successful, so either they backed it up or the people folded, knowing they didn't have anything who were making the claim in the first place. Which is good and unexpected. I expect YouTube to always do the shitty thing, so them actually doing the right thing for once is a very pleasant surprise. Maybe I wasn't giving quite enough credit and it's automatically assuming they would do the shitty thing. They did once before, although it was less clear cut than this. So I suppose if it's really clear cut, they'll do the right thing at least. But if there's a question, they'll tend to err on the side of the copyright holders always. Maybe my channel's getting bigger and they're treating me a little more fairly because, you know, it's clear that I've been doing this for a while. I'm going to keep doing this, and I mean, technically my channel's over 11 years old, but spurred in like 2014 where I did stuff and I didn't do it for a very long time. But it's clear that this isn't just a fluke, so maybe that plays in. Let me turn up the music volume a touch. Some of these songs are actually pretty cool. So listening to some of my own videos, I'm like, oh, I have a audio boost, so you guys hear the songs much more loudly than I do. It can be noise sensitive to my long COVID, but when it doesn't bother me, there's subtleties to this music I can't hear at all with how far I often turn it down. So, well, until Bubbles arrives here. 188 days. And the fleet, 256. Had them set out a little later in Bubbles. Is, I should probably just have her go head all the way to, is there any X? Nope. She still keeps doing the hyperlane jump. Cool. Because Space Amoeba is slower in the fleet. And it is time for Tsujimia to start producing some more corvettes. I'll start with Buckler class because they have lower upkeep. And then some Bracer class. Want to engage in force. Don't need them for power projection or anything. But I do want them for... Let's see, this is like 750 fleet power. Pretty sure I'll face more than that with the final close fleet, or very close. I don't want to lose too many ships, so... Hmm. Bubbles is, well, she's got a lot more hit points than the Corvettes. She actually has a ton more DPS too. 101.48. This is 7. Yeah, these actually do less damage relative to their health. So if anything, I want... But yeah. So I want these to be tanking for bubbles, in a way. I'm assuming the enemy, they seem to actually concentrate a lot of their firepower on her. Probably because they're high damage. I don't want to lose... Although you actually can get a memorial bubbles, a specimen, and you can sell it for a bit of energy. So you do get some value back. But it's actually not worth it even from a gameplay perspective. Now I know this lost bureaucracy thing actually allows me to spend influence and a little bit of energy, a bunch of uni. I should have freaking realized before. Well, I was getting close to my influence captain. I probably should have ran it, because it's minor influence sync and how much power projection I have. And how few costs. Getting 7 influence a month right now, there's very high probability of hitting the cap, and just there's nothing to spend it on until I can either get a construction ship out here. And I guess I'm just going to want to leapfrog, because this empire is not building out that way. Oh, no, they are. Okay. Well, I could grab the Rochelle system. I could actually use a pre-FDL. Pitlings are in the Renaissance age. And the corpse of some gargantuan alien creature keeps silent vigil in orbit of this planet. Interesting. It's actually in orbit on the surface of their moon. Does that actually affect their pops? Militarist, authoritarian. Do they have any spiritualists? No. I've got a militarist and authoritarian faction, so they'll fit right in my empire. Give me 1 second here. Sorry, let's see, did I think it talked roommate about keeping noise down a little, well, apartment mate, and then I laid down for a second. I needed that. I need to think also. I still haven't decided what my next ascension perk is, but there's only really 2 I can grab. The ones I'm gonna grab: Cosmogenesis or my ascension perk. You don't need text for any of them yet. So one of the first 4. It doesn't say specifically that they prevent each other. I'm pretty sure you can't grab more than one of these. It'd be kind of weird to have both biomorphosis and synthetic evolution, for instance. Purity actually does add quite a bit to you. Leader lifespan, interestingly. Divergence directive is kind of garbage. Remember. Let's see. What the heck? It's doing stuff where that screen resolution isn't big enough or something. Or the UI is just not sized correctly. So there's no bar to drag down. Yeah, all this does is automod traits faster, although... Oh, every organic species grabs the adapted mutations. Ah! Adaptive pheromones. Interesting. Yeah, it just gives everyone a trait, although you could give them specialized traits and then that. Maybe it one's a normally mutually exclusive, I don't know. This is nearly as good as the where is it? Ba-ba-ba. Perfection protocols used to give a lot of pop growth in just absolute terms. It's just a percentage modifier now. That's garbage. Wow, they actually nerfed the heck out of these things that would give pop growth. Progressive growth used to be really good too. One thing is... But yeah, since it's not extra... These aren't bonus modifiers, so they don't even get around the empire growth scaling. If the empire growth scaling is ignored by bonus growth. This just gives a flat amount of assembly, though. Yeah, synthetics. We're so far ahead. So I've thought about doing... Anyways, the reason I thought about doing... synthetic evolution. I can also do Flesh Speak, though. That's sure to piss off the spiritualists instantly. This will annoy him right now. This actually doesn't annoy them until I guess I actually start turning my population synthetic, by which time I might have a materialist faction and got rid of the spiritualist governing ethos. I can even get an empire modifier plus 10% happiness, although I've decided for sure I'm going to either try and do an AI rebellion or Vascal shenanigans, so either way, empire modifiers, permanent ones, don't do me any good. None. None whatsoever. With the megacore advanced authorities, the synthetic one is really good. The cybernetic one is still pretty good because you can get +1 trade value per pop. Not as good as synthetic and having tons of civilians that buff alloy and consumer goods production, however. It's really nice. You don't have to buy consumer goods with trade value to give your civilians the consumer goods they need. If you're a xenophile, you can reduce upkeep to 1/10 normal, so 0.05 under social welfare. Consumer goods per civilian. but instead of having to buy that at a cost of like 1 trade value per civilian, it would max out at. That is 20 trade value per consumer good. You can just stick civilians on like Forge and Factor worlds and get more. So yeah, the synthetic advanced authority for Megwars is the best. Cybernetic is still pretty strong. The biologic one is just pathetic. Both the biological ones are pathetic. Yeah, so I'm tempted to just give the finger to the spiritualists, and I did check, like after I ended the last stream, just very quickly took the uni come from lost bureaucracy, started the biomorphosis thing just to see what the situation looked like, and you have to run in basically a medical facility that costs extra upkeep and does no extra benefits beyond just costing you extra upkeep. Yeah, genomic researchers, which you have to get to the finisher in order to even turn medical workers into genomic researchers, which I guess that might be an improved version. But the genomic research facility, which you need, is just a medical center with 6 extra energy upkeep, has no additional benefits, which is just annoying as hell. So I don't even really like the way you get the biomorphosis situation. It's just obnoxious. One more second here. Sorry about that, guys. It's just at the time I realized that, like, not very long ago at all, a package probably arrived and said it got left outside. I was worried about it, but someone brought it in. Apparently, opened it, had a little snack, which is good, keep my blood sugar up or whatever. Because I also realized I forgot to take a latte before night's milk, which surprisingly, usually I almost instantly suffer from that if that happens, but I didn't this time. So I took a latte and had another glass of milk. The IBS that comes with my long COVID seems to come and go. So some weeks it's very bad, and some almost like it used to be, where I could drink milk and stuff without lattes and eat onions and all this other great stuff, and I can't do that anymore. Long COVID, many of the symptoms will get better sometimes for a while, and then they get worse again. It's kind of like a sinusoidal wave. So I'm at a high point with the digestive system symptoms for the most part, other than some flatulence, honestly. But if I'm not experiencing gastrointestinal pain with other stuff, I can deal with a little gas. I guess the people around me will have to suffer that. I'm sorry. You may hate that. I wish... I gotta take it with a speck of humor. Anyways, I should get going here. Let's see. Generator district on the capital? I'm not liking my energy situation at all. I'm actually going to make it worse when I have more trade hubs and hydroponics. Why can't I add another? Oh, I don't have the minerals to add another generator district. Really? I forget. Do they want trade? No. No. They don't give a darn about it. Only thing they have they might want. It's because they get so many free resources in their rebel. These guys couldn't want trade, could they? Oh? Surprisingly they do. I don't have any minerals to speak of, though. Darn it. Maybe able to do something like this. Yeah, maybe not. Wish you could add. There needs to be a function to add like notes to an empire, like on the interface screen, so I can put like a note. This empire likes this resource. It's not an amazing deal, to say the least. I mean, this means trade isn't worth much more than energy. That would be worth 81. $86. Yeah, it's not worth much more in energy. They're even worse. Alright, well. Already losing more than a fifth of my growth empire growth scale. Urgh. Now, I've actually noted that trades even continue in wartime. Although you can, of course, intentionally make them fail. So what are they going to do to declare war? That's excessive allowance song. Screw towards Utopia. I never liked that song very much. Trade is unsurprisingly best given these guys. Look at me, by far the best deal. Should do that because it's just barely into the territory of costing more. But yeah, I could do this like evolution, but I really want to do an AI rebellion. I've never really experienced taking over an empire that way. Part of me really wants to do that, and part of me wants to do switching empires to a vassal shenanigans. Or Cosmogenesis if you win or lose the game. So either Cosmogenesis win, or I'm not sure. I think if you get conquered, you can switch to another empire now. So I could switch to could Cosmogenesis and switch to a former vassal. That's the legit way to swap to a vassal. Like after destroying a ninth of the galaxy's stars, though, causes massive damage. to the galaxy. So could be chaotic and interesting, but I'm not sure I'd really want. Although you do add extra deposits, so there'll actually be more minerals in the galaxy, but fewer spaces for ring worlds and such. Of course, too many ring worlds will lag the game like crazy, so. Well, maybe not like crazy. Pops don't add that much, but too many planets will lag the game. I think it's got more to do with the calculations like migration than actually the number of species or number of pops you have. People have shown that neither correlates that much with lag, but the number of planets does. Mariana High planet settings. Yeah, maybe I'll do that, but I think you can still do Cosmogenesis as a machine empire, right? It's a Gestalt even. Huh. Of course, there's a lot of anomalies and events and such you can't get. That's about done. Can't. See, Klein's doing that. James Cook here with my prospector. It's doing that. This is definitely not an efficient path, so I need to redo this. This, on the other hand, is efficient. Cool. The Earhart's good then. And that's got me thinking Heart's Iron. Earhart. At some point I'm gonna do my Heart's Iron or Let's Play. I had one plan is Japan, but then maybe I'll do another US one. Been trying to do the US Communist one. Did a couple multiplayer attempts at a single player, but or maybe Germany, the German Communist path. Germany is always frustrating with how few build slots you have, and well, the fascists, the historical route, can get around that somewhat. I never ever want to play as Nazis in any game, so certainly not in Hearts Iron 4, because there's too many fascists. So that's when I start playing a game, I told myself that's the one thing I will not do. I'll play Germany, just never Nazis. So, either go and have a monarchist rebellion or a communist rebellion or liberal democratic rebellion. Either way, get rid of the fascists. Well, something's caught under disk in a weird way. It's caught. It's just what a shitty frickin' desk this thing is. It moves side to side. It's not properly reinforced at all. Attempt to just get the one I have from the basement. The landlord. He wants to keep it. He's got to at least have someone help me bring it up stairs. I can leave the desk behind. It's too much pain otherwise. Anyhow. But yeah, now that they changed it so that actually since I started the first Germany run where you can build slots no longer.
An anomaly.
Cursory scan of the planet's surface reveals a weak signal pulsing into darkness of space on the barren plains. Isn't this another one of the masters of such and such thing? Huh. because of the horrific crimes they commit. I refuse to ever play. I prefer not to play Nazis in any game whatsoever, though there are some of my first-person shooters where there's a Germany campaign, you have to do it, but never played such a game. And that's definitely a point against any such game for me. And it's not like we live in a world where that's in the past and they cease to exist and we've learned our lessons. No, unfortunately, none of those things. Especially not the learning lessons from history, with the US very much going in a xenophobic fascist direction again today. Can't all be blamed on Trump, actually. I was talking with someone, they were saying they like reading autobiographies, and they were reading Autobiography of Obama. Like, God, politician autobiographies, they're always conceited and dishonest. And, pretty sure this one doesn't let down, doesn't disappoint in that regard. So stop around here. You see, start all the multitask here, talk about this. At the same time, I had these survey bits. Barack Obama lived in Indonesia from 1967 to like 71, 72. Between the ages of 6 and 10. This is where the dipshit Republicans are saying, yo, he went to a madrasa or some bullshit. No, actually, he went to like one of these. A lot of countries have like schools that are for the children of diplomats and stuff, and they're basically raised in usually in American or English culture, and he went to one of those places. So he went to like literally a school for the kids of diplomats in Indonesia, in Jakarta, which is the capital. Because, you know, I guess there's a lot of U.S. multinational corporations and diplomats and stuff, which isn't surprising because Indonesia was a puppet state of the United States during the Cold War. And indeed, here's the thing, Obama moved there 2 years after the Indonesian genocide, which occurred in 1965. So there's no way he could have not been like knowing people growing up there for a while, like lost family members, that because basically the Indonesian government went and assassinated with death squads 1.1 million people, political dissidents, socialists who weren't even dissenting against the government, maybe even willing to work with it. And indeed, this brutal right-wing dictatorship came into power because of a U.S. regime change operation carried out by the CIA against a democratically elected socialist government that had been in power before. And then when the socialists and the communists turned around and tried to do a coup to restore the people in this country, which had elected a socialist government, mind you, and the coup failed, the government proceeded to hunt down and murder socialist trade unionists, socialist sympathizers, and anyone who was deemed too close to them, such as their families. It's like, oh my God, this was horrific. And Obama knew about this, and he has given speeches about he grew up there and lived in the aftermath and saw this, and then why he was therefore reluctant to invade Libya, Syria, to do regime change operations there to bomb them, which didn't stop him from doing it anyways. It only makes it all the worse that he knew it was wrong, and he still had the U.S. go and do regime change operations in these countries, which turned Libya into a failed state with open-air slave markets. that is because of what the Obama administration did to Libya. And the fact that Obama could even make a comparison to the Indonesian genocide, and like, I didn't want to do it because it might be similar for people, and then he did it anyways, and then it was similar. And then on top of that, his administration started the Yemenis genocide, which actually started in March of 2015, is when the Saudi-led bombing campaign of the country began. I think the civil war there had been going on for 2 years at that point, and the U.S. participated in cutting off food supplies to the country and providing like intelligence for the Saudi bombing campaign and selling the Saudis the bombs and the bombers they used to do it, and providing diplomatic cover for Saudi Arabia, which is very much a U.S. vassal. Not a particularly loyal one. They'll sometimes murder journalists and stuff, but they are a U.S. vassal. And for that to happen, and then I don't know. He writes a freaking autobiography, and I guess he did before the Yemenis genocide, such, but it just rubs me the wrong way. Obama is part of how we got into the U.S. being this country that's like supported like 3 genocides in the last 20 years: Yemen, Congo, and a certain country in the Near East, which I'm not going to say, or I'm going to get trolled by Hasbro pieces of shit. Yeah, Obama is kind of the one who set us up for all this, and then Trump actually pulled the trigger on some of this stuff or made it worse. But Yemen started under Obama. Congo got to its current really bad state under Trump 1, and then Biden continued it, and then Trump actually decided enough and actually helped sign a peace deal in his second term, which is like, right. Although that had been going on since Bush Jr., really, the heavy U.S. involvement in Congo. And there had been a previous genocide in the 20th century that the U.S. was also involved in Congo, so it's not the first time we helped do a genocide in that country. Yeah, and the Indonesian government that did what I just described with Jakarta, where Obama lived, being the epicenter of that, went and turned around and invaded another country and did genocide there, with the U.S. providing diplomatic cover and foreign aid to fund this. Not much later, that was the East Timor genocide, which is a tiny country, but with a huge proportion of the population wiped out. So, I think there were only like 50,000 people in the country, and like 10,000 were killed or something. It was ridiculous. Like, more than a fifth of the population mass murdered. I think the numbers might both be bigger than that, but it was still a really small number of people in the country, and so people point the death toll and say it wasn't that bad, but then they don't realize that the country didn't have that many people, period. So there were no more people to die, or they would have probably been killed as well. I don't know. This person's probably explaining this to someone from dating app. They're probably like upset that I mentioned. It's like, you literally told me about Obama autobiography reading. Do you expect me to worship the guy's feet after the horrible crimes against humanity he carried out? Every U.S. president since Truman has been a war criminal. There hasn't been one exception. The last president to not do war crimes on a massive scale, that would be Hoover. Even FDR did some in World War II in terms of firebombing cities, though Truman was the one who really dialed that up to 11. And FDR did it, mind you, to stop the Nazis, so I can give him a little bit of like leniency in how harshly I judge him on it. Still wasn't right though. And you know, in Japan, some of the firebombings of Japan started under FDR, though Truman, as I said, dialed that up to 11. My roommate, who's very interested in Japanese culture, I wonder if he realizes that it was like how horrid those fire bombings were. Generally, Japanese culture, Japan prefers not to talk about these events. People in Japan,
survey concluded.
Because they almost like to pretend World War II didn't happen. They certainly won't admit the crimes they committed in it in China. But that means they also can't talk about the crimes that were done against them, unfortunately, which Americans don't know enough about. Firebombing of whole cities was a crime against humanity, and well, not illegal at the time. It became illegal after World War II when new rules passed about how wars could be carried out that made it illegal, specifically because of experiences like this. But I think it wasn't legal. Was Geneva Convention outlawed already? I don't know. It was more clearly outlawed right after World War II to firebomb cities. Or, of course, it didn't stop the U.S. from doing the Korean War, where we firebombed cities again after it was already illegal with napalm. People think napalm was a Vietnam War only thing. No, it actually got its use firebombing cities in World War II first, and then after it was ruled illegal to do that, the U.S. fucking went and did it anyways in the Korean War. Just walked by a Korean War memorial today, and I'm like, yeah, always raise the soldiers who died, and never the fact that point out the fact we shouldn't have been there and we were carrying out a genocide in Korea. Synaptic collaboration's value suggestion. We find it sound. Cool. Still ran out of light, but nope, wrong. I'm not gonna go at another reactor thing on Anchor. Another generator district. Isn't her pop growth and take advantage of this. It wouldn't be able to put more than 7. I mean more than 6 without Master Nature here. Which adds to resource districts. Or rather to the effect of them. I don't think there's actually adds ones. It just... yeah, the planet has 4, 3, 1. Oh, no, it almost certainly did upgrade them. Because that would give 8. So it actually changed the names of the energy of the district types. Interesting. I mean, so add automated technician jobs, and it'll enable me to put more people in the technician jobs if I wish, so they'll prioritize the farming instead. Still a pace for itself. It adds 7.2 energy upkeep. But more than 9 energy output, like 10 energy output. So it's net profit just from the automated jobs. 10 or 11. But I don't know. Sometimes I challenge people with this stuff on dating stuff because, well, I've had so many experiences with people on these apps. They freaking put like 0 effort in. Why is lost? Oh, that's a different thing. Artificial moon is here. I'll read this off because actually I already know this is just minerals. Deeper scans of LJG44D1's crust confirm what the crew already suspected. It's no ordinary moon. The entire planetary body is an artificial construct made of exceptionally mineral-rich rock, packed around a massive steel framework. LIGO is created to slow the rotational speed of Pth1, making the days longer and tides higher, primary for habitation. As far as you can tell, nobody ever settled the planet. This is the planet that also happens to be a collided planet. 2 planets crashed into one. That probably screwed with the rotational speed, and there's stratospheric vents on top of it. So this is a weird planet. This will create an event chain. This artificial moon here is... It's just... well, mining alloys. 2 really valuable moons. Captured asteroids. Captured asteroids are always part of the galaxy generation, or are they just a rare thing? It actually does make sense. Because that is a type of moon that exists. Like Mars has a captured asteroid moon. I wonder if they'll ever update. I bet the Solar System doesn't give Mars its 2 captured asteroid moons. Phobos and Deimos. But they should have them. Yeah, a lot of people will just like, they'll talk for a while and then they'll just disappear, lose interest, or just start dating someone that they met at work without fucking giving me the time of day for a while. I have to just stop, and then like, it's like, I gotta gauge someone's interest and dedication. And that may include talking about things that, if they get to know me, well, I'm gonna talk about these things with anyone I know at some point anyways. Maybe not so avidly, but it's kind of, it's putting someone through a little bit of a test to see if they just expect someone to agree with them on everything and never talk about any unpleasant subjects, or, you know, I'm basically an activist. I've spent my whole life trying to make the world better, and one of the biggest ways is through politics, and so it's important to me. And worth sharing, I guess. Worth making sure people know I care about these things. So I got 22 systems. 23, 24, 25. I guess I should grab Rochelle. I can start doing pre-FTL observations instead of my vassal doing it, and then anything they get just gets disappeared because I'm gonna absorb them. Any texts they had that I didn't have are just lost. When realistically, I should probably get them, since those planets are now part of my empire. I probably won't do it just because they'd be too overpowered to absorb or conquer. It's like, conquest and absorption can be overconquered in the real world. Because you do get technologies when you integrate a more technologically advanced. Like, that's one of the basic things about military conquest is you're guaranteed to get whatever technologies that people had. That's how it works. Hold on. Sorry, it's got to be the world's noisiest microwave, and it seems to be louder sometimes than others. It doesn't seem to leak microwave radiation, at least not a frequency that messes my cell phone. I stay with family. For an abusive family member, the microwave is doing this, and I didn't call until we'd had it more than a year, and I called the company, and they're like, oh, it's more than a year, we're not gonna do anything about it. It's like, it's been doing this since day one. I've just had too many other things on my plate to deal with this right away. And it was like just after the 1 year mark anyways. Oh, after I discovered some particular law that said companies are supposed to have to deal with microwaves that are like this. And they go, we're not obligated to do anything about that while the product's more than a year old. It's like, kill us. It's past warranty, which is a year on it. But it was clearly had been like that the whole time. It's a slight health hazard because you can increases the risk of cataracts if microwave is leaking large amounts of microwave radiation like that. Because microwaves, they denature proteins, and the proteins are not really replaced over your lifespan. So, cataracts. Not that the sun's light radiation doesn't do the same thing, but this is increasing the exposure, the dose of that you get of rays can do that. So, it accelerates the process. I have to lie down in a second here. I'm getting a little lightheaded. Sorry, guys. This happens. I'm on COVID sometimes. Repetitive noises somehow make it worse, which sound this microwave fan. Let's go quickly check, make sure it's not out of alignment or something. Alright, so yeah, that wasn't actually a microwave. I was like, my hearing is very sensitive, but has very low specificity, if you will. High sensitivity, low specificity, so I can tell whatever it was much louder than the microwave usually is. And I'm like, does the microwave have a different setting that's a lot? No, it was an air fryer. There's an air fryer, not a toaster, but an air fryer. It's like, don't people ever make toast? I'd much rather have a toaster. Air fryers, was asking, I didn't even know it's apparently used for like raw meats and stuff. Get a little nervous about something like that, although maybe I could do potatoes in it. I'd have to look that up. We got some potatoes in the stovetop here. Always burn stuff. It was like 2 settings, off and the temperature of the sun. It gets red hot. It doesn't seem to, the dial doesn't work at all, so maybe I should try using air frying potatoes so that they don't burn. It's be healthier if you blacken outside the potato. You get a lot of formaldehyde, a lot of cross-linked products. It's actually really bad. It can increase your risk of stomach cancer. Potatoes are not supposed to be cooked that way, even though some people do it. Give me 1 sec to check. Oh yes, apparently air frying potatoes is not only done, it's a very popular and supposedly superior way of cooking them. So yeah, I'll try it sometime. Let's get off that stupid song. I don't like it at all. The Imperial fleets that can come in, I'm tempted to disable entirely. Yeah, it's in there with my recipes, like how to cook carrot tops. Yes, the carrot tops. If you get like carrots with the greens, the carrot tops are edible as well. And how to cook with the entire ear of corn, because you can use the husk of corn to keep it moister. You like our oven baking corn. You can bake it in the husk. It's very good that way. And you end up using less butter, so it's typically healthier. Whereas when people boil corn, they end up usually lathering it with so much butter and salt. It's very unhealthy. Yeah, I have a tendency towards experimental cooking. Trying new things, so a little less so now I'm on COVID, but I've often bugged family. I have a thing. I also know this thing, 20 radish recipes, because one time I grew some radishes. This is staying with my grandparents. One of them was sick with cancer. I was worried about them, and I didn't know how much I would see them, and so I stayed. Well, I came to visit them. I was supposed to wait for a week. When I heard about them, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stay here for a while, because I mean, I get more time with them later. Right before they start their chemotherapy or whatever, they're going to be really sick. Or the aggressive. They start with the first course of treatment that was like not bad side effects, and then it was the really nasty chemotherapy. I wasn't around for that. yeah, and so I grew a radish patch anyways, and I was trying to like, they didn't want to eat the radish. I'm like, there's so many things. They got a list of 20 recipes. They wouldn't touch it. Ended up making salads, and it was too much work. I was spending most of my time staring at them cats, so I didn't have time to go really ham on complex recipes. I ended up just making radish salads a lot and eating what I could of them on my own that way. The radish greens, because the radishes themselves ended up really like too tough, because I didn't harvest them soon enough. I thought they were tiny. The first ones were like, okay, I should let them get bigger, but then they got really woody. So it was actually the greens, the only part that was really usable. But the radish greens have a very sharp, peppery taste. Shared knowledge. Interesting. Oh, from the scientist. Except this isn't the scientist. Must be based on the science ship. This is Jessler here. I think it's from her. Let's see. The recent scientist edition Jessler has put her knowledge of technology to good use. Her shared insights have pushed our physics research to new heights.
Knowledge is the key to the universe.
Synchronized defenses. Line defense and offensive weapon execution paradigms allows for increased efficiency. This allows defense-grade supercomputers, which means more defense platforms on star bases. And subspace sensors. These are the third level sensors, but they allow black hole observatories, importantly. And dimensional shrines if I was to take the Civic for it. I actually don't think I researched the second level sensors. So yeah, just skipped right to subspace sensors. Sensor range 3. Let's see. Yep, you can see a 3. Very high power usage too. So I may not put them on any of my ships or whatever. Maybe someday I'll get the second level. People like, why would they think if they've skipped a tier that they should never research that tier? No, that's dumb, because sometimes you don't want to pay the extra cost or power for a third level component or a fourth. You just want like a second level. Especially if you're keeping like a reserve fleet that chances of using it are low, and only in a really bad fight would you do so. The Digimoran Council is now Tetrate, so they've fallen far enough behind me in tech. Probably thanks to that shared knowledge. And first contact event. We made contact with mysterious aliens in the Meralt system. For now, we have codenamed them Epsilon aliens. Oh, it's an enclave. Fun. Both my envoys are busy right now. Pi and Mech aliens. These are like Caravaneer types. This might be a proper empire. Oh no, it's another scavengers. Well, okay. Get around to those later. You know what? I'm gonna remove the Imperial Fleet Second Coming. I don't like that song. Terrible. I think I might throw the Titan back in. Sometimes I like that song, but Memory of Mercedes Romano.